Welcome to Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. I'm just one of your hosts, Sean Boyle, with me is
Ashley Mott.
And welcome to the half-hour radio program every Sunday on 104.5 The Flame at 10 a.m. But also, thanks to a wonderful partnership with the St. Lucie Public Schools, we are also a monthly television show.
Yes, it's our special week.
And if you're wondering, if you're listening to the radio and you're like, man, I always wondered what they look like, go look up WLX TV with a word of caution. Look up WLX TV on YouTube. You can find all of our past shows, going back, I believe, all the way to the beginning. When we used to be recorded on television.
Watch those with extreme caution.
Weekly. If you want to see the progression of this radio show, again, with the word of caution, go to YouTube, look up WLX TV, St. Lucie, and you can find not only our program, but all the programs that are offered through St. Lucie Public Schools. Now, we at the Children's Services Council, clearly not radio show or television professionals, but what we do at the Children's Services Council is 5 things for our community. And those 5 things are, 1, make sure every baby's a healthy baby. 2, stop child abuse before it happens. 3, keep kids off the streets. 4, keep them in school. And 5, keep them off drugs, alcohol, and other risk behaviors by offering programs and resources for all families in our community.
You did a good job. You counted on your hand this time.
I did not look at you, so you would not distract me. I thought I was very disciplined.
That was wise. That was very good. So Sean talked about those priority areas, but there's a couple different ways that you can learn more about the programs that work in those areas, obviously by listening to or watching this show. But we also have a list of all of the programs on our website, which is cscslc.org. You can get all of the contact information from those programs in a brief description of what each of them do. We also have a printed family guide of that same information.
That I am modeling.
You are Vanna Whiting here. But it has the same information in there, contact information for each of the programs, along with a brief description of them. I have been kind of giving this disclaimer for the last couple of weeks, but we have added new programs. So the website information is going to be your most up-to-date information right now. We are in the process of getting these reprinted. So as soon as those are ready, we can have them delivered to your place of business, to your church, anywhere that you would like to have them available. So just give us a call at the office and let us know, and we'll make sure we get new ones out for you.
And the 2 new programs are going to be added that we're very excited about is Lindsay School of the Arts.
Yep, very excited about
at the Crane Building in Fort Pierce. Come, your child can take art, music, dance, writing, and you can hang out with the peacocks.
With the peacocks.
I almost said penguins. You can hang out with the peacocks, and we also have a new program to work with pregnant women in the city of Fort Pierce. It's a doula program, which is a birthing coach that we're very excited about.
Yes, very good. So that information is available on the website. They are just not quite yet in our printed guide.
Now, we do this show because we want to connect you, the viewer and listener, in an entertaining way-ish, to what resources are available in the community. But if you want to keep track of us on a daily basis, we all wear smartwatches. You can sync with us.
You can find us.
Or what you can do is you can follow us on Facebook. We post nearly every day, whether it be an inspirational message, a program information, or a little tidbit. Please make sure you look up us on Facebook, look up Children's Services Council, St. Lucie County. There are other Children's Services Councils, and while we like them, we love the St. Lucie one.
We like them. It's fine. They're friends.
We're good. We're also on Twitter, if you want to follow us there, too.
That's a treat.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point out this November is National Adoption Month, and we've talked a lot about it on past radio shows. A couple weeks ago, we actually had, it was just you and I. I was the guest.
I was the host. You were the guest.
Yeah, it's a little awkward, but we shared my family's adoption story. So I did just want to point out for everyone, I promised that I would get it posted up on our CSC blog. So it is available there, the full story, in case you listened to the radio show and wanted to know more. Everything is there up on the CSC blog, so you can read it all.
And if you're like blog, website, what? Go to Facebook. We, of course, post it on there and then link it to the blog.
Yes.
So before we get to our guests, while we are in the month of November, the holidays are right around the corner.
November is almost over.
I swear, the same day that candy went on sale, 50% off for Halloween, was the same day that Walmart had their trees up, Christmas trees.
I made my husband take our tree out of the attic this weekend. I didn't put it up, but it's out.
So another telltale sign
that
it's the holidays is that we actually have the date, and tickets are available for our Sounds of the Season concert, which is December 20th at the Sunrise Theater at 7 a.m. featuring...
PM,
sorry. We will not be there at 7 a.m. My apologies. 7 p.m. on December 20th, which is a Friday, which is the last day of school for kids before they break for the holidays. But we'll feature 7, this time 7 our highest number ever of our after-school programs will perform at the Sunrise Theater.
We're really excited. The kids are really excited. I've been meeting with the programs to talk about what the kids are actually performing, what they're doing. They're all so excited. They get to perform on the stage of the historic Sunrise Theater, which is awesome every year. Tickets are available now at the Sunrise Theater box office or at our office in St. Lucie West. But again, you can get more information about that on our website, on our Facebook page. Make sure you get them early. We say this every single year. The week of the event, they're gone. They're always gone.
I go through stages of
event planning
where nobody's coming. What do you mean we're out of tickets? We got more people that want to come.
Yes, and that will happen again. So please, if you're planning to attend, get your tickets early. We will run out before the show.
And I know we said this, but I just want to reiterate that it is free. So you can bring your whole family. What a way to kick off and get into the holiday spirit. You can even bring that aunt or uncle that always shows up for the holidays that you kind of like. It's a free ticket. They can sit on the end, but they can come as well. All that we ask is that if you attend, if you can, are able to bring a gently used or new children's book, because we're going to utilize all those donations to, again, supplement and supply all of our little libraries across the community.
Yes.
Which I believe are well over 60, 70
We
now?
are close to 80, I think. John Caesar, our community engagement coordinator, has been doing an amazing job, and he is putting new little libraries out, I feel like, every day.
Yeah. So if you're on our website looking for her blog, also click on St. Lucie Reads. You can actually find the map where all
All
those
of the
are
libraries, yeah, you sure can.
All right, we have a wonderful guest that's waiting very patiently. She's kind of giving us a little like skeptical eye. Have you noticed that?
No way, no way. So we have a great friend with us today. Kristina Kaiser is with us from Communities Connected for Kids. We mentioned that it was National Adoption Month, and they actually facilitate a lot of the adoption process here locally in our community, and helped my family with ours as well. So we're going to talk a little bit.
Have we had them on since the name change?
Yeah,
Yes.
she's been on the radio show, maybe not the
So-
TV.
No,
I think that I was on the TV show.
Were you? I remember actually being in the office talking about the name change when you guys had just narrowed it down. And we promised an exclusive on the radio show.
Oh, that's right,
for the
It may
name.
have even been this
Before.
month too. It might have
Last
been.
year.
It might
Maybe
have
it
been November,
was.
because I'm pretty sure I was here for the November show.
So your name's
and
Kristina Kaiser. What did it used to be?
Good one.
Actually, I did have a full name. Mitchell.
So, Communities Connected for Kids. Maybe people in the community have heard of it. Maybe they know what you do. Maybe they don't. Give us kind of an
Probably
overview.
not. Probably not.
Christina's like, I am in the communications. Everybody has heard
Everyone.
of Communities Connected for Kids.
I know that feeling. So give us kind of an overview of what Communities Connected for Kids does.
Sure. Well, first of all, I just want to say I cannot believe how long I've known you, Ashley, but I don't think I'd ever heard your full adoption story. And then last week when you spoke at one of the fundraiser, one of the networking groups, I am so sorry if you had to look away. I was so
It wasn't
choked
just
up.
you.
I was so overcome by emotion, just knowing that I knew you and you were going through these things. And it was a beautiful story and
Thank
very
you.
well said. And everyone interested in this subject should look up that blog.
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, so Communities Connected for Kids, we are responsible for the child welfare system in Judicial Circuit 19. So for people who don't follow the judicial circuits, that's Indian River, St. Lucie, Martin, and Okeechobee counties. And just in a very small nutshell, that means we are responsible for every child in those 4 counties who have been abused, neglected, or abandoned. That includes foster care, protective services, and adoptions.
Good. That was quick.
And
I like
it is
that
quick, and it gets so, you know how complicated this whole thing gets. But I hate to stop there, because we are a system. Communities Connected for Kids is a system, and what that means is that we work with a very extensive network of community providers. Other agencies like Children's Home Society that is responsible for providing adoption services through our system of care.
So one of the things that I kind of wanted to address that I think gets overlooked is the process to become an adoptive family, because I think there are, I think I shared with you a statistic somewhere that said something like 25% of the people who have ever considered of those of the people who have ever considered adoption, only 2% have ever followed through, but 25% of them think about it on a regular basis. And when I shared that statistic with Sean, I was like, oh my gosh, can you imagine if everyone who had ever considered it actually learned the steps? I think more families would be willing to do it.
Or talked about it more.
Or talked about it more. I think there's just sort of some, barriers, information, ignorance, whatever it is. People don't understand what the process looks like, which causes them not to follow through. But really, with the partnerships that you guys have created and the support of organizations like Children's Home Society, there are not a lot of barriers. There are steps, and there should be a lot of steps, but it's not cumbersome, really.
And also, I know that there's probably a lot of misinformation out there, and there's also a lot of, I would not call them barriers. It is not an easy process, nor should it be.
Right, exactly. It should not be.
It should not be easy. These are children, first of all, they come from families. They're not orphans. They have, usually they have mothers and fathers, they have families, they have attachments, and for a lot of different reasons, they are available for adoption. I totally sidetracked myself. It shouldn't be easy.
No, agreed.
So we, as Communities Connected for Kids, never ever forget the significant responsibility we have in trying to return children to their families, to healthier, stronger families. When that can't be done, then it's our responsibility to ensure that we find new permanent homes for these children. And because these children have already experienced significant trauma, we have to go through all the steps to make sure that these are good matches, that it's not just about what you want for your home. That's important. Obviously, that's important because we want the best match possible. And so we look at what's best for the child, where the child is best placed, and usually that's matched with a family that is looking for a child with those similar needs.
So maybe if we can, just for a brief second, because you cited that stat where only 2% actually follow through, and part of our reason for this show is to kind of demystify or kind of reveal the curtain of what actually takes place, what happens when you make that call. So if somebody isn't interested in adoption, what are some of the things that they should expect to go through?
I think Ashley is probably the best person to answer that question.
I already interviewed her on the past show, so if we could just...
Well, I think the first thing that has to happen is that they have to attend an orientation, and typically that's kind of the first step into understanding locally how we work, who all the players are, and they kind of walk through what the timeline looks like, I think sometimes is a shock for people.
Expectations.
The expectations and things like that. But Children's Home Society handles the orientations for folks who are interested specifically in adoption. We have other partners in the community that do foster care licensing, which is how my family got started as foster parents. But if a family knows that they strictly want to do adoption, Children's Home Society is the best contact, kind of first point. I will say that on your website, the Communities Connected for Kids website, there is an extensive list of the steps to become an adoptive family. It's very detailed and it's very good, but it kind of walks through all of the things that happen. But really that first step is the orientation, to just kind of get acquainted with everybody that's involved here locally and what happens.
You get an A+, Ashley.
Thank you.
So you referenced their website. Obviously, the viewers can see the website on the bottom, but for our radio listeners, can you give out your website so that they can look up that information?
Yes, it's www.cckids.net. So much easier to say than
No kidding. We've been arguing about that too.
than previously before we had our name change. It was a mouthful.
It was. So the other thing that I wanted to kind of talk about, which I didn't really get to share a lot about in my story, is the benefits of adopting. And there are a lot. There's a lot of partners involved before a child is adopted, but there are a lot of partners involved after that adoption is finalized as well. And I think one of the things that you guys have done really well is post-adoption support.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Making sure that families, what is important to that a family one day after adoption is not the same as what they need or what's important to them 365 days after the adoption.
Or again, we are talking about children who have experienced trauma. So in the past, looking back at what was happening in the system of care, not just in ours, but statewide, nationally, we were seeing that there was a number of adoptions that were not making it. Children that were coming back to the system because, and what we found is as we gain more and more knowledge of how the brain works and how trauma affects the brain of a growing child, is that we would have families that adopted children out of the system when they were young children, and then they enter adolescence, they go through puberty, and a lot of that trauma catches up with them, and there are attachment disorder issues and other types of issues, and nothing that can't be overcome with the correct services. But the services hadn't been there. So you're right. In probably the last 5 years, there has been a lot more focus on post-adoption supports. As an organization, we added that as a program. Actually, I believe it's state law. All of the organizations similar to Communities Connected for Kids throughout the state of Florida are required to have a post-adoption supports team, providing and ensuring that the services are there for people that, if they come to a place in their adoption journey where it's more difficult than they thought it would be, they're not really sure how to relate anymore to the children in their home, then we're not risking an adoption blowing up and children coming back into care. We can actually make sure that the services are there to preserve the home.
And I think it's important for us to say too, you mentioned that kids who are being adopted, especially out of foster care, they are in foster care to no fault of their own. They're not bad kids. They do not have behavior issues because they have behavior issues. They have trauma, and those things may present themselves like behavior issues frequently. But the best fix for all of those things is a positive attachment to an adult. And really, I think, I think I said this in my story when I told my story. I did a ton of research. I wanted to know everything. And everything that you read about the attachment disorders or things that are common with kids from trauma, all of it can be overcome by a positive, beneficial mutual relationship that they have with a caregiver. And a lot of times they haven't ever had that in their life before. So just being placed in a home, being adopted by a person that's willing to do that for them can totally turn their life around.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. They need what all children need, which is consistency and love.
I was going to say, and that the idea of bonding to an adult, whether it be a parent, grandparent, whatever, that's universal for all kids. And all programming, that's what our research tells us.
Yes.
So before we went on the air, you threw out a number, and you said, and we were like, is that good or bad? So I'm going to throw out the number, and then you build the context around it. So the number that you gave us was 28.
Yeah, that is a very exciting number. We have 142 children in the 4 counties right now who are available for adoption. Out of that 142, only 28 do not currently have identified placements. This is a phenomenal number for us in our community. We can't remember a time when we've had so many good matches come forward, and a lot of that also, again, I have to throw it back to Children's Home Society. It's their recruitment efforts and their matching efforts. So it's not just about finding, it's not just about finding a number of homes. It's about finding the right home and matching that home with the right child for that home. And so we have, in past few years, for starters, CHS, Children's Home Society, has surpassed the goal that we set for them year after year. So they're finding more homes than they're even tasked with finding. So that's excellent news. But also, they are able to match children that historically have been very hard to match, to find homes for. your older teenagers, your children with developmental delays, in your large sibling groups. And it's kind of a magical time right now in that regard in local social child social services, because we are doing such a great job in matching children to homes. So it's very exciting. And then also, I'm just going to keep talking because things are coming to me as I spill, but we also have a number of other resources in the community we've never had before. We have a partnership through the Forever Family Program, which leverages the power of the media to help identify homes for children. We actually had a sibling set of six brothers and sisters. A woman was Ashley Erickson. She watched them on TV. She found out that they were back in care. She watched, each one of them had a different segment each week on TV, Channel 12. And I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but she watched their stories unfold every week, and she ended up adopting them and keeping them together, which was, I can tell you that.
I took
Keeping
three.
six
Six
together?
is a lot more than
That's a
three.
lot, yeah.
So they are going to be celebrating Thanksgiving with a new Forever family this year
That's
together.
awesome.
So there's that, and then we also work with another organization, Selfless Love Foundation, that actually uses cutting-edge matchmaking technology
Yes.
for like the. I don't know
It's
much
like
about that.
dating
the swiping, yeah.
app-ish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it uses dating app
But
technology.
Selfless Love was actually founded by a local girl, a girl from our hometown, Ashley Vickers, who started
right.
that organization. It's really cool if you follow their story. Relatively new, sort of on the scheme, but what they've been able to do for kids who are waiting for adoption is just awesome.
And they're working, that foundation has linked into, I'm going to say CBCs because that's just what we call ourselves, community-based care. But there are CBCs throughout the state of Florida, and the Selfless Love Foundation is really linking in with all of the CBCs throughout the state of Florida and really powering the matchmaking that
very
is
cool.
helping to find homes for these traditionally hard-to-place children.
Yeah.
So you had 142 children,
We have 142 available for adoption.
but 28 are the only 28 are unmatched at this
28
point.
are unmatched.
So I say all that because if you're one of the 2% that have been thinking about adoption, there's still 28
There are
children that need forever homes, that adult to come home to, no matter whether they're 4 or 5 years old when they come home from school, or if they're 17, 18, 19 and they come home from a job or college, they need somewhere to call home.
That's right.
And Thanksgiving's just around the corner, folks. So I'm just putting a little pressure on everybody to consider
I like it.
adoption, particularly with these 28 kids.
And you should have Nicole Hughes on too.
We have. She's been on the show before, and we're getting ready to actually do some stuff with her as well. She's
Good.
great from the Guardian Ad Litem program.
She adopted a teenager
Yeah.
and gave him a home, and
He's one of our outstanding
Yeah.
youth.
Yep, he is.
Yeah.
Award.
It's a story we know well. So I did want to just give you a chance. You mentioned Thanksgiving, but Christmas is also coming, and you guys do a lot for the kids in care to get ready for Christmas and make sure that they've got what's on their wish list.
right, we do. We have a program called Making Christmas Bright that we could not do alone. I have to give a huge shout out to Debbie Butler and the Guardians for New Futures. They Our system, the 4 counties, is pretty much 50 to 55% of all of our work, all of our kids, all of our families are in St. Lucie County, and then the other half to 45% is Indian River, Martin and Okeechobee. The Guardians for New Futures take on the program in those 3 counties. But basically, what we do is at least in St. Lucie County, it's more of a corporate gift-giving program in that large groups are encouraged to participate. So, for example, Tropicana has been a long-time sponsor for us in that program. They take about 15 to 20 kids. Each child comes with 3 wishes. So I send them a list of children and each child's 3 wishes. They do their own corporate giving program with their employees. And then we schedule a day 1 week in December. This year, you'll see the big truck driving around town the week of December 9th. And we go and pick up, and then we take the gifts to our service center in Fort Pierce, unload them on the case managers, and they take them out and deliver them to children in care. So any child who is in case, has a case open is touched by that program.
If somebody is listening and is interested in maybe getting their work group or their church to participate, how can they get in touch with you to do that?
Just contact CC Kids. You can, again, go to our website at cckids.net. I can also be reached directly on my cell phone, which I give freely out to everyone. It's 772-528-0362. Or you can use the number on the screen right now, which is our main number, and just tell Catherine to send you to Kristina, and they'll get you my way. And it's not, I don't want to leave it, I don't want people to think that you have to have a business or you have to, it can be a church group, work every year with St. Andrew's Lutheran. They take 80 children. St. Andrew's Episcopal has been doing this for about 20 years with me so far. They're one of our longest term supporters. But we also take smaller groups. Families like to participate. Individuals like to participate, and we can take whatever you want to do. We can get you to the right place.
Ashley said that if somebody's listening. Well, we know somebody's listening.
At least 5.
We are right now, at least. But what we will issue, because we know a lot of our listenership, and we know this because they tell us when we're out in the community that they listen to us either on the way to church or on the way back from church, or they know that they're running late because they hear us at a certain segment.
That's okay.
So I'd encourage everybody that's listening that's either going to church or coming back, and I know we have a lot of big churches, people that listen, they go to a lot of big churches, to take this on for the holidays. Mm-hmm. It's a great thing. And I want to reiterate, because you said this, Ashley, that these kids that you serve through Communities Connected for Kids, I had to do the acronym to get to the name, they're in the system to no fault of their own. They are abused, neglected, whether it be poor parenting or whatever the circumstances, and your main push is to reunify them. Yes. But a lot of them are in foster homes, group homes, they're not at home, and a way to kind of give them a sense of home and community and celebration over the holidays and normalcy is to make sure that they have something to open on Christmas Day. Yeah. So I would strongly encourage, we've done it before in the office, it's a fun thing, it's a good way, it's a good team building activity, whether it be for the members of a church or a business, but to call you at your multiple numbers. I'm going to go with the cell phone, which is 772-528-0362. Yep. Again, 528-0362. Even if it's just 2 kids or 5 kids or whatever you can do, it's something because the need is there.
It sure is. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you for having me again.
It was great, and congratulations on the new name, even though it's not new. All right, folks, we're out of time. Remember, it's a weekly radio program on 104.5 The Flame at 10 a.m. and a monthly television show thanks to a wonderful partnership with the St. Lucie Public Schools. Look us up on WLX TV on YouTube. And remember, it's our children, our community, our future. We're all in this together. We'll see you next time.